Docker basically is a solution that you can resolve the issue of application conflict on a single host or single operating system. In the past, for we had like this kind of virtual machines, and we were installing for each application a VM. So that caused a lot of using a lot of CPU, RAM resources. But nowadays we have Docker. That means that you're having a single operating system and then you have Docker on top of operating system, but each application has a boundary. So like application A is using part of that Docker system, B the same, C the same. So you can have a multiple application on a single operating system. And that resolves the issue that you're facing, like installing Nginx and Apache on a single operating system. So today I'm going to show you to how to install Docker. And part of this, actually, we are using um, WordPress and show you the how to install WordPress on Docker. So this is my machine B that I am using here. So look, now I'm gonna install a Docker. In the document, I mentioned two ways for installing. Also, we have video for Ubuntu that you can use the ranchers for installing Docker, but here I'm using another way for Debian. So if I clear my screen here, look, I'm installing CA certificate, uh, curl also for this part. And then we are installing key rings. Actually, I put it here. Maybe I copy it from here. Part of this is installing this key rings under and giving the permission for keyrings folder. So then we are preparing actually this part um, to add the keys for installing Docker. So I add this part also, changing the permission of these keyrings. And then we need to add a repository on your, which is this one, this command. That's a repository for uh, adding Docker. So you just copy paste this part actually. Um, this is a part that we are adding. Actually, it is under here. Echo, we're echoing to the repository file. I hope this one works here. Um, Let me check that architecture. Yeah, it seems to be good. Um, so if I use this one, sudo T, I think this one also works part of this one. Um, no such a file created under Docker ACS. So I think this part maybe is broken. Yeah. Um, so what I can do, I can bring it again because this has a space here. That space doesn't allow to be generated. So I am adding that one again. Echo backslash backslash Uh, should be good, I think. Um, maybe this part, yeah, this part maybe is a tricky part. Yeah, sudo. But then adding this part also, yeah, okay, that worked. And then sudo. Now we have that repository, sudo apt-get update. We are updating our repository. So now we should be able to install Docker. Uh, look with this command. Let's see that that one works or not. So paste it here. Yes. Okay. I think it's good now. So as I said, there are different ways. If you check the Google also website, there are different ways that you can install the Docker. But this is very easy way for installing Docker. Um, Docker. Once you install a Docker, then you can check the Docker uh, and also add your Docker. There is like name for each container that you can assign for each container. So I'm here, I am adding name C1 for Nginx. Also add a port number 8081, which is mapped to port 80 for Nginx. So look now, it will install Nginx on port 8081, and that's a unique number that you have for this Docker. So I add Apache for the same thing, like same command, if I add it here. But this time I name the container as a C2. I use port, for example, port 8082 for Apache. So HTTPD is part of CentOS. You know, in CentOS we call it as HTTPD, but in Debian we call it as Apache. But look now, it will pull the Docker, the Apache, and it will fill it with this container. Now Docker container ls, look, we have two containers. One of them is um, Apache, the other one is Nginx. So if you open browser, so remember that we had the issue installing Nginx, and so if you Nginx and Apache on the single operating system. Now if you 8081 should be Nginx, and if you put here 8082, look, this one is Apache. So both of them are working. This one is one Docker, this one is another Docker, right? So we have two Dockers here. Also, you can check logs on the Docker, like you can do Docker log C1. You see that? It shows the application that you're running on under Docker number one or Docker C1. Or the same thing for C2. You can do C2, and here you have the logs for C2. If you want to delete one of the Docker's containers, you can do like Docker stop C1 or C2, the name of a Docker. So if you do now Docker container ls, look, you see only C2. We don't have a C1. Also, you can remove the Docker container with rm, Docker rm C1. Now C1 is removed. So if you do Docker ls, so it shows only C2. So C1 is deleted. If you do Docker help, Docker dash dash help, it will show you a lot of commands regarding the starting, killing. I was just practicing here simple commands. If you're doing programming, Docker is used a lot. So now let's play more um, with Docker. Install, remember that one of our lab also was installing WordPress. So now you can install a WordPress on Docker, one of your Dockers. So we are doing this way, Docker Compose version. So that shows the version of your Docker, right? Is version 228. So then I'm gonna create a folder, mkdir for WordPress, cd WordPress. Under here, I put YAML file. And that YAML file actually is a kind of file. Also, I put it on the document. So if I want to copy it, bring it here, is a kind of file that is define your SQL, your database information. So if I bring it here, uh, look. So that's my YAML file. So it's saying that, okay, the services that I'm running is here MySQL. Under here, you have the database of SQL Server. Then you're saying, okay, I have a WordPress and the WordPress depend on the database. And it's using port 8000. It is a local 8000. And then it under this one, var www.html, it will define the uh, files. All right. So I will create the file nano uh, nano docker dash compose dot YAML file. I'll put this information. That's a default information. If you wanted to update like password, whatever here, you can change it. This is sample. Port numbers also, you can change the port number from here. Paste it here. That's the YAML file that I have here. Maybe here is better because it's colorful. You can see that. So it's getting latest version of WordPress. So I save this file and then I will do this way. Docker compose up dash D. So it will actually get the like latest version of the WordPress, you see, and pull it here. And database and the password that you put it on the YAML file. So WordPress pulled, container pulled, and it seems that now should be okay. So if you do local host port 8000, because it was port 8000, I think. Look, now we have a WordPress. Super easy, right? So without like my WordPress website. So remember that was very hard for us. Was that username? Oh, I didn't put the username. Admin, for example, a@a.com, for example. Install. So here you see that you can log in based on your admin user. And this is WordPress. So this is home. I just want to show you home page. This is a home page of WordPress that's working on port 8000. Basically, that's it in how to install Docker, how to use WordPress under Docker.